Hello and welcome you all. This demo is about our internal application FlowMate, that is our citizen workflow development application. FlowMate is an application which allows anyone to build workflows without any coding experience. Yes, let me give you brief update about the application and the problem statements that we are trying to address. Organizations need basic requester approver type applications to manage their internal day-to-day functionality. Behavior of these apps would change as and when policy of organization changes. This leads to a repetitive cost to build, maintain, and update multiple apps. On top of that, these apps are for internal management purpose only and does not help organization to increase revenue directly. Considering the situation, organizations feel such in-house apps are increasing overhead rather than helping management. Considering the problem scenario, we have built the FlowMate, which is providing functionality, list of functionalities like below. Here is a list of functionalities for administrator. The very first is to build and manage workflow. Define workflow stages. Define groups associated with workflow, SLAs, or define which actions can be performed for a given stage. Define the business logic and determine the next subsequent stage. And not only that, define and review the workflow, create versions of a workflow, review the active cases, and provide inputs for each workflow. Export workflow details in Excel, export workflow summary in Excel. These are the functionalities which are provided for administrator. The next major is build and manage the form. Any application primarily revolves around a form and a workflow. So the form has to go through multiple stages. That stage, the logical consequent order is determined by the workflow. And the main primary entity is a form. Here we are providing a facility to dynamically build the form. Not only that, all the basic inputs like text field, integer field, paragraph field, radio buttons, drop down, checkbox, file upload, date picker, signature field, all of this are included in the form. We have a freedom to define them dynamically. We can also define which or how many columns you prefer in the form and define at which stage which section would be enabled or would be disabled. Review and update the form, and no need to mention export the form's data in Excel. Third major functionality is about permissions. This application allows administrator to define who will have a permission to participate only in the workflow and who has a higher authority to initiate the workflow as well. The fourth is defining the lookups. For example, list of actions, list of groups, list of stages available to be used in the workflow. And finally, all about reports. Administrator has a option to filter all the data based on workflows or creator of a case and see the individual cases. We can also export all the case reports in the Excel format. Let's discuss about the functionality provided for the basic user. Basic user can create a new case. We can call a workflow as well. Pick a workflow and initiate new cases. Leverage use of the form and workflows defined by your organization. Review and export case detail as well. The second thing is about the performing a task. If any user has the lowest level of permission, they can at least perform the task. Basic user might be approvers at some stages in some workflows. They may need to provide their inputs at a task or a case. Here, basic user will get an application specific view of task assigned to them, and they can pick ones to work. And finally, SLA reminders. They can get SLA reminders for their pending job via email. Once the case is completed, they can get notification via email as well. Now that we have discussed all the functionalities, let us talk about benefits as well. Businesses can build and host virtually unlimited number of apps in a FlowMate. Yes, FlowMate is an application which hosts multiple applications that you build and define dynamically. Quick and customizable apps can adopt new policies of organization on the go. Anyone can build basic apps without need of coding experience. Reports and summary are readily available for apps and cases. Organizations can update workflow or input form as many times as needed without any extra expense. Let's talk about the screen layout and let's talk how the functionality is developed. So this is the form design page. This page will have list of all available forms in the system. We have an option to update, review, or inactivate the form, as you can see in the right hand side of the screen. We can also control which form will be used in workflow by publishing or unpublishing the workflow. This is almost like a version control. Next screen for admin is designing the workflow. This is the second most important part of any system. Managing workflows are super easy with Scadea's FlowMate. Here also we have an option to update, review, activate, inactivate, or publish, unpublish the workflows. Third one is about permissions. Uh, the system has three types of roles: administrators, initiators, and participants. Administrators have got all access plus control to provide accesses as well. Initiators are the one who can initiate the workflow, and participants can only perform the task assigned to them. This particular screen has an option which user has got which permission in which workflow. Admin can define here. Also, there is an extra functionality for administrator that is about managing lookup. Any system has at least three lists, that is list of actions, list of stages, and list of groups involved in the system. These are the prerequisites of any system. Using this tab, we can define all these lookup values required to build the system. Finally, the case report tab. This is main summary tab where admin can see high level summary of how many apps, workflows, or cases are created. They can filter, view, or export case details. Here is a screen for end user and how many applications are available. We can see here in the list. Virtually, we can have unlimited applications, but based on your permissions, you would see only those applications. The next screen is once you enter into any application, you would see how many cases you have created for a given application. That is what you see here in my case tab. The Let us talk in detail about the various screens. For example, the form builder. The very first screen here, you can see that any form has got a title and a description as well. If you provide few more inputs, we have a freedom, we have a functionality here to define multiple sections. Each section has got a header. We can also define in which stage this particular section would be editable. Next comes for the workflow designing screen. So workflow has got a name, and workflow has to be associated with a form. We have to define the form name here. We also have a freedom to define a logo for a given workflow. Now a workflow has to have multiple stages. We need to define the stage Also, there are multiple details. For example, which which group is assigned to this stage, how many SLAs are given for this stage, how many actions are available for a given stage. All these things we define here in the summary. Next comes the condition. This is Scadea's way to define the workflow. Based on which condition the next stage will be defined. There are actually four types of conditions, for example, based on the action. What is the action that user is picking? For example, accept, submit, reject, revoke. These are the actions. Based on that, the next consequent stage will be decided. There is a situation where we may need to compare two values, and based on that, the comparison, we can define the next consequent stage. There is a possibility where we may need to sum two numbers, or we may need to find difference of two numbers, and based on that the next logical stage would be defined. All this is possible using Scadea's FlowMate. That's all about the video. If you are interested, let's have a connect with Scadea. That's it for now. Thank you.